Okay guys, you got some questions that I can't really answer with just diagrams and pictures and whatnot. So I wanted to go into a little bit more detail about where I was at with that last post. First, we'll start with, we'll get the little gems out here. Clean the brass. As you can see, I've got the backs pretty shiny. And let's take that guy and put the rest away. I got one of these tools. I don't know if it was Glenn or who. Detail prep tool. Andrew Mack and Son. I think there's other companies that have them. It's a little fiberglass pen. Oop, had a little brush in it. It's made out of fiberglass. And if you twist the end of it here, you can see it zips out. It's like super Q-tip, okay? It's really got some backbone to it. I dipped it right in the semi-chrome polish. Went to town on the back of this thing with it. It's pretty good for getting most of it. I had a lot of green in there from corrosion and what have you. I tried to make one of my little fancy sanding tools on the end of a pencil, and because I went so quick, it didn't work out real well. I just took some 500 and some 1200 and rolled up, cut little pieces and rolled up, and laying on the what did I do with it? The sanding block, which seems to be missing right now for some weird reason. Oh, it's over in the drill press. I also use it to hold things while I'm drilling. You know, you just got to go really lightly, and you got to watch out for all these little corners and his little end of his sickle there, and you know, his head and everything else. On the ducks, it's their beak. All these little curlicues and stuff will snag, and you don't want to do that. It's easier to go slow and avoid all of that than to have to straighten it out. Because if you bend them real bad, it's a pain in the butt to straighten them out. How I do that is, once again, get it on a nice piece of paper on something hard and flat. This is a dental pick. It has a good radius on it there. It's kind of sharp on this side. This side I kind of broke messing around with it, but it also has this radius right here and this radius right here, and then it's got a blunt end to it. I just kind of sanded it around a little bit, but you can push the brass back down with the round part of it. You could take, I wish I had my sanding block, but anyway, you can lay it down on something flat. Say you bent the leg or the little sickle, you can lay it down on something flat and rub it back into shape. You can even do this on the face, and then you'll see it scratching and you'll go, oh my god, but you know, you can sand that out with some real fine sandpaper. I did one that was kind of really bent up. I got it all back in shape. It was kind of a miracle to myself. I think I started with some 1500 and wound up at 2500 sandpaper on the front of it. It was one of those other ducks I did, either the glass or the blue one. Sand it out and buff it. You know, it's metal, so you can clean the scratches out of it. So that's why I just go ahead and use this. The smoother, this is a stainless steel too, and the smoother this is, the more polished it is, the fewer marks it's going to leave on your brass. But that's only if you make the mistake of messing up your brass, which ideally you don't want to do. That one bolster that was on this Reaper, there's a piece missing off of it, and my buddy said he was going to give me one, and that's nice. When I got it off of there, I don't know if it shows on the picture, but it was actually, I don't know what happened to these scales. They were all warped, and where's the one? Oh, this is the one I dug it out of. I had to break it off. I soaked it for, I don't know, a couple hours in the acetone until it turned into a gum to dig this all out of here. But I don't know how well you can see. I kind of got that nice and flat. I probably need some more work. I really wasn't going to go too hog wild with it because my buddy Wolf was going to get me one. There you can see it's kind of, anyway, this whole area where the washer sits on top of the bolster was pushed down in the scales. You probably saw in the video I was trying to dig it out. That did not work. And you can see on the back the green. Maybe put another backdrop to it. I don't know if you can see that or not. I can't see it. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's what the sandpaper is for. Get that green off. That tool does pretty good, but if you sand it off and then go over it with the tool, then you're really doing something. Okay, so that was all getting it apart, detailing the brass up a little bit. I still need to do more of that. On the back, the front, I'm going to wait until I glue it on and polish it up because they're not that bad. I got to buff the heck out of this acrylic anyway, so usually by the time I get done I got to clean some CA glue off the edges, which when we get to that part I'll show you how much fun that really is. That could be a real challenge, but so then I put the thing away. I'm going to show you here. Got to be careful with these little buggers. When I traced this out, and what I was trying to show you in the picture was, and I tried to make it clear with the dimension thing. Okay, what I was trying to do was, and what I did was sand the edge of these scales down to match the brass all the way around the bottom here. Okay, so you have, that's what I meant by one of the dimensions being down. If you look at, I'll post some pictures of the original ducks and the ones I did, the outside of the scale pretty much matches the outside of the brass on the bottom. And I detail sand that scale first and then rough in the rest to match as it goes away a little bit, so that when I plant the scale everything matches. Let's see, if you look on this nice little satin wedge, here we go. If you look at the edge of the scale now, the radius comes down and matches the inside of the scale almost to a point. There's no flat there, there's no thickness to it whatsoever. In other words, the radius shown on the back right here that's the radius right there. On the ones with the big names and stuff on the front, this area actually is just a little bit radius. It's more of a flat. This one's kind of round. Some of them I've seen are real flat right here in the back. The satin edges are the ones I have. They're still rounded off a little bit, but up on top where it comes off the brass is fairly flat. Not at all like this up here. They're the same thickness on this end as they are on this end, but because of the distance, the width, if you want to call it that, the radius arc is less of a diameter. Probably the best way I can describe it. Less of a diameter here, more of a diameter there, and kind of a flat spot on top. Not really, but almost. So that's what you're trying to achieve before you glue the brass down. So by doing the outside, right, I've already done one of the dimensions, and because I still have them taped together, I'm getting both of them at the same time. I had pinned, when I say pinned, I just threw a finish nail through the pinhole into the pinhole, and I'm making the scale match the brass. Always got to be thinking, make the scale match the brass. in the end you can push the brass around a little bit, but I don't like to push it at all if I don't have to. And it's just a lot easier to sand it to make it match. Okay, so now that I have this outline done, and it's still a little bit wide, I'm going to detail that right in. Then what I do is look at it this way. So now I have to work on the radius going this way, and I'll just gently, I usually go after it with a belt sander. I want to be real careful. I got this new little 1-inch belt sander and I'm not really comfortable with it yet, but basically I'll start on the end with the radius up and over, and then set the tips on, and then work my way in till the back touches. Now normally what you get is it'll radius and then it'll stop right there, and then you'll have a gap towards the back, because the other dimension that you have to work towards is this flat spot here on the back, which is actually radius this way a little bit and then at an angle like this, almost a 45. On the other ducks that I did, I just took the belt sander and whacked that 45 almost there and then started radius. It doesn't really matter how you do it. I just thought I'd try it this time the other way around. But sanding, get the end. Here's the reason why I start with the radius towards the end. Okay, you do have this flat spot. So once you make that radius, okay, and you put that brass on there, because it's basically straight all the way back the same radius till you get to the flat spot. If you make a mistake there, you have 1/8 of an inch that will cover it up in the end that you got to flatten off anyway. So it's a lot easier for me to get that to sit right on the end like that, get that radius perfect, and then work it in until it sits over the pin. And like I said, the little flat spot on the back is how you actually, what you use that for is to get it to the pin. And what all this does, and why I'm so picky about doing it that way, is when you go to glue these down, I actually just flop them down. You got to put the glue all over the thing and not touch it, so you can hold it. Oh, where'd he go? He's trying to get away. I actually lay them in this way like this. So with the CA glue, you want a good coverage of CA glue all over it, but not excess. Then when I come in, I can put that right there, flop it down, push it down to the sides match, push it up a little bit, and the pin should line right up. If it does, you got a successful glue. And I'll test fit this 15 times before I even put the glue on it. I'll just see how many times I can do it, how easy it is, because the one thing is when you get the glue on there, you know CA glue doesn't last very long. It starts setting up right away. You just want to plop it on there and be done with it, and holding it off to the side somewhere. If you get too much CA glue on it, it's going to ooze up through all these little things right here. Class A1 pain in the butt to clean up. So I'll be showing you that when I put the glue on there. But that's basically where I'm at right now, and I wanted to further explain what I meant by tracing, because I was already getting questions on that. And I might do a little work here in a little while and start shaping out the roundness. If I do, there'll be another video real soon showing you exactly what I mean about starting at the end, sliding it in. That's the second dimension. The third dimension would be this flat spot in the back. Then it's ready to glue. I have these, once I get this fine detailed in here, I'm going to make sure that all this looks real nice. And both scales match on the edge. Okay, I'm going to finish off the dimension of this scales all the way around on the edge. Then I'll probably separate them. We got the pinhole, we got the edges in the back done. This particular set, the other ducks I've done haven't had it, but I'll probably do the same thing with the bolsters in the front as I'm doing in the back. Shape those, get those to fit. or traced out on the edges. Get all the edges done, then separate them, and you can do the round part. You'll never see the two of them together. It's not like you're going to be able to look down and see, and it's just a lot easier for me to shape them when I only have one to worry about, one side. So that's where I'm at, guys, and I hope that explains everything, and we'll see you soon.